Very, very good morning to all of you guys. Welcome back. I hope you guys were thorough with the concept of flexible budget because in the previous session, we started with budgetary control and we discussed few practical questions on flexible budget. So let's proceed further with the next part wherein we'll be discussing production and sales budget. Again, I'll be referring the study material only. So I request you guys to please open your study material. Giving you 2 minutes time, please open your study material. I'll be discussing few questions from study material relating to production budget and sales budget. So when talking about production budget, how we calculate production when opening and closing stock is given. This very simple technique wherein you guys must have studied from 11th grade till graduation. That is sales, add closing stock, less opening stock will be able to calculate the production part. So without wasting time, let's start with illustration number 4. It's a bit lengthy illustration wherein I'll be covering the sales part also and the production part. So let's start with illustration number 4. I hope everyone is ready with the study material. So a single product company estimated its quarter-wise sales for the next year as under. So the quarterly sales are given for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. Further, it is given that the opening stock of finished goods is 6,000 units and company expects to maintain the closing stock of finished goods at 12,250 units at the end of the year. So the details of the sales is given, the closing stock is given, the opening stock is given. So we can easily calculate the quantity that is manufactured or produced, whatever it is. The production pattern in each quarter is based on 80% sales of the current quarter and 20% sales of the next quarter. So question कह रहा है कि how much quantity we produce every quarter, that is जो भी उस क्वार्टर का सेल्स होगा उसका 80% जो है प्लस subsequent quarter का 20% we manufacture in that present quarter. So I read it again. The production pattern in each quarter is based on 80% sales of the current quarter and the 20% sales of the next quarter. The company maintained this 20% sales of the next quarter as closing stock of the current quarter. Okay, so whatever the 20% is, it is basically the closing stock of our current quarter. Further, the details of the raw material is also given, wherein the opening stock of raw material at the beginning of the year is 10,000 kgs and the closing stock at the end of the year is required to be maintained at 5,000 kgs. It is given that each unit of finished output required 2 kg of raw material. So the raw material requirement is how much? 2 kgs for every unit. The company proposes to purchase the entire annual requirement of raw material in the first 3 quarters only, in the proportion and at the prices given below. So whatever our requirement is, the company purchased it in 3 quarters. That is, in quarter 1, they do purchase 30%, quarter 2, 50%, and quarter 3, 20%. And the price is also given. Further, the value of opening stock of raw material in the beginning of the year is 20,000. You are required to prepare the following for the next year quarter wise. We are required to prepare the quarter wise production budget, raw material consumption budget, raw material purchase budget, and price store ledger card of the raw material using FIFO method. So this last part is already covered in detail in material costing. So first three parts are very important when talking about this chapter. So let's start with illustration number 4. So herein, in this question, sales is given, the total sales is given, the opening stock is given, and the closing stock is given. So we can easily calculate the quantity that is manufactured or produced. So let's start with illustration number 4 of the study material. So here in the total sales, we can calculate. Sorry. We'll first calculate the annual production. Or total production. Wherein we have the total sales, that is 30,000 plus 37,500 plus 41,250 plus 45,000. So sales add closing stock and less opening stock. Total sales I've already calculated, that is 1,53,750. Closing stock is 12,250. And opening stock is 6,000. So 153,750 plus. So we have got the annual production, that is 1,60,000 units. Now this is the annual production. Very good, Ritika. Here we have calculated the annual production, that is the total production, but we have to calculate the production quarter wise. So let's prepare the production budget for the quarter. So we'll prepare the production budget quarter wise. So it is dependent upon sales for the quarter. And the sales is 30,000. 37,500. 41,250. And 45,000. So it is given in the question that हम लोग एक क्वार्टर में कितना मैन्युफैक्चर करते हैं. Very simple. 80% of the sales of the current quarter and 20% sales of the subsequent quarter. 80% sales of current quarter and 20% sales of subsequent quarter as closing stock. So when talking about for quarter one, how much units we will manufacture? 80% of 30,000. That is 24,000. And 20% of the subsequent quarter. So 37,500 into 20%. That is 7,500. Again, I repeat, 80% of 30,000 and 20% of the subsequent quarter sales. Now, when talking about quarter two, again 37,500 into 80%, this will be 30,000, and 41,250 into 20%. So this will be 8,250. Similarly, for the third, 41,250 into 80%. So this will be 33,000. And 45,000 into 20%, this will be 9,000. Similarly, for quarter fourth, 45,000 into 80%, this will be 36,000. And very important, guys, for the fourth quarter, the last quarter, the year-end closing stock we have is 12,250. What it represents? It represents the sale of the subsequent quarter, that is of the next year. So again, 12,250 will be my closing stock for this quarter, and we can say for the year end also. So let's calculate the total, that is 24,000 plus 7,500. This will be 31,500. This will be 38,250. So my total production, the total of all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 quarters will be 1,60,000. You can just cross tally it. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your queries. Good morning, Ankit. Anyone having any doubts or queries? Yes, Sarthak, Ritika, Sanya. So now let's proceed further. So the question is asking us to calculate the production budget. So this is what my production budget quarter-wise. Now the next question, what the question is asking is raw material consumption budget, again in quantity. So let's start with the raw material consumption part. Again, the same way, particulars. Quarter first, quarter second, quarter third, and quarter fourth. So herein we have the production. We have already calculated the production, that is 31,500. This much is my production. This much is the quantity produced, that is the finished output produced. Let me check, Tambeshwari. So here we have the quantity produced, that is the finished output manufactured. Now it is given that for every final product, we have to use 2 kg of raw material. See here and read the question. The second paragraph, the last line, each unit of finished output required 2 kg of raw material. So we can say raw material required per unit is how much? Required per unit 2. So we can say raw material consumed will be how much? 31,500 into 2. So this will be 63,000. Sorry. So the total raw material consumed we can easily calculate. Will be how much? 63,000 plus 76,500 plus 84,000 plus 96,500. 3,30,000. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your queries. Sorry, it is 3,20,000. So the total raw material consumed is 3,20,000. Anyone having any doubts or queries? Now let me check, Tambeshwari, your solution. I'll check it later. I think you are talking about flexible budget. Very good. I'll check it later. It's a straight question only, but just give me some time. Wait, whether he. So we are done with the calculation of raw material requirement now. So the first part, that is production budget, is over. Raw material consumption budget in quantity is over. This is the raw material consumed for every quarter. Now they are asking us to prepare raw material purchase budget in quantity and in value. For this, we need to first calculate the quantity of raw material purchased. For this, we have to calculate the raw material purchase quantity. So let's start with this part now. So see, we have raw material consumed. If we add closing stock and if we subtract opening stock, we will easily calculate the raw material purchase. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, purchase, अगर suppose purchase given और closing stock निकालना है, what we do, we add opening stock, we write opening stock, we add the purchase quantity, and we subtract the quantity used, so we get the closing stock. So same way, purchase is not given, opening, closing stock and consumption is given, we can easily calculate the purchase quantity. So we have the opening stock and closing stock of raw material with us. So see here, in the opening stock and closing stock of raw material is given in the question, wherein the opening stock is 10,000 and the closing stock is 5,000. So again, the same way, raw material consumed we have is 3,20,000. We have to add closing stock and we have to subtract opening stock. So here in the closing stock is given in the question, that is 5,000 and opening stock is 10,000. So 3,15,000 is what the raw material purchased. However, we have to explain it in money terms also. So when talking about the purchase planning, see, it is given in the question that in quarter one, they will purchase 30% of their annual requirement. In quarter second, they will purchase 50% of their annual requirement. And in quarter third, they will purchase 20% of their annual requirement. And the price is also given, that is 2, 3, and 4. So raw material budget So total raw material purchased annual. So total 3,15,000 is my annual purchase of this. It is given in the question that 30% is to be purchased in first quarter. So 3,15,000 into 30%. This will be 94,500 in the first quarter. The price is also, we have the price is also given in the question. That is, we purchased it at the rate rupees 2. So total amount will be how much? So 94,500 into 2, this will be 1,89,000. For quarter second, again, total requirement is 3,15,000. Of this, 50% is purchased in the second quarter. So this will be 157,500. And the rate is 3 rupees. So this will be 4,72,500. Again, when talking about the third quarter, 3,15,000 into 20%, that is the balance quantity, 63,000. And the rate is 4. So this will be 2,52,000. So this is how the total 3,15,000 is purchased in all the 3 quarters. And the total amount, total value will be 9,13,500. So in short, if it is purchase budget, again, very simple, closing stock, add consumed less opening stock, will get the purchase value. If you want to calculate the quantity manufactured, also sales, add closing stock, less opening stock, will get the quantity that is manufactured. If you guys have any doubts or queries till now, you guys can please post. Thereafter, we will start with the FIFO method. Anyone who want to copy the presentation can please copy, giving you 2 to 3 minutes time. Akrima Ansari, why 12,250 has taken? See, this is the closing stock of the year end. Akrima, this is the closing stock of the year end, or we can say it is the closing stock of the last quarter also. That's why I have taken 12,250. $94,500. This is 3,15,000 is my annual requirement multiplied by 30%. Similarly, 3,15,000 into 50% and 3,15,000 into 20%. This is how I got these figures. Anything else, Apurva? Now let's start with the last part wherein the question is asking us price store ledger card of raw material using FIFO method. So particulars. So there are two ways you can follow any of the format. So we'll prepare it as per the standard way only. So herein there are 4 quarters. Quarter 1, and the column will be kg rate and value. That is quantity, rate, and total amount. Similarly, for quarter 2 also, so herein let's start with the opening stock first of all. When talking about the opening stock of raw material, we have it in our question, that is, I think it was 10,000 kgs. So the opening stock of raw material is 10,000 kgs, and the value is also given in the question. The last paragraph, that is the value of opening stock of raw material at the beginning of the year, is 20,000. So quantity is 10,000, rate is rupees 2, so the total amount is 20,000. We have the opening stock now. Further, the quantity purchased, we have calculated already. That is, in the first quarter, let me open the solution because I've already erased. 94,500 kgs of raw material is purchased at the rate 2 rupees. 94,500 we have purchased at the rate rupees 2. And the total amount is 1,89,000. This is the quantity that is purchased. Now the quantity consumed. See, again, we will be referring the main budget only. See, in the first quarter, the quantity consumed is 63,000. You can refer the raw material consumption budget, that how much quantity is consumed. See, the production is 31,500 and every unit required 2 kgs of raw material. So the quantity consumed is how much? The quantity that is consumed is how much? 63,000. Now see, this 63,000 will be consumed first from 10,000 and balance from this 1,000. However, in both the cases, the rate is 2. So we will straight away write 2. So 63,000 into 2, that is 1,26,000. This 63,000, you can refer the consumption budget. So we will get the closing stock. Opening stock 10,000 into 2, 20,000. This much quantity we have purchased. So total we have 1,04,500 kgs of 2 rupees. Of this, 63,000 is already consumed. So balance we are left out with is how much? 41,500 we have still in our hand of rupees 2. So 83,000. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your query. So this is the closing stock of the first quarter. So it will be the opening stock of second quarter. That is 41,500 is the quantity. The rate is rupees 2 and the total amount is 83,000. Now in the second quarter, the quantity purchased is how much? Again, we have to refer the purchase budget. So the quantity purchased is 1,57,500 at the rate 3. 157,500 at the rate 3. So the total amount is 472,500. 4,72,500. Now, very important, guys. When talking about consumption, again, please refer the consumption budget. So see, the total raw material consumed is 76,500. The total consumption is how much? 76,500. Now, herein we are referring FIFO method. First in, first out. So see, 76,500 is the total consumption. So 41,500 will be from the opening stock. So 41,500 will be from opening stock at the rate 2. And balance amount, balance quantity, 76,500 minus 41,500. 35,000 will be from the raw material that is purchased during the quarter, that is at the rate 3. So the total value will be how much? 1,88,000. So now this is finished. 41,500 is finished. Of this 157,500, 35,000 is consumed. So still we have 1,22,500 in our hand of rupees 3. So this will be 367,500. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. This part is already covered in detail in material costing. Still, just for your reference, I'm preparing this table. So again, for the next quarter, the opening stock will be how much? 122,500. And the rate will be how much? 3 rupees. And total will be 367,500. सबा शकील क्लोजिंग बैलेंस कैसे आया? सी सबा 41,500 is the opening stock. 157,500. See, 41,500 is the opening stock. 157,500 we have already purchased. So total we have is how much? 1,99,000. Out of this 1,99,000, see, we have to issue this much. So 41,500 is gone. And from balance, 157,500, we have used 35,000. So balance we are left out is 1,22,500. See, 157,500 of this, 35,000 is used. So this is how 122,500 will be left out with the balance. Now let's talk about the purchase part. I hope Sabha your query is resolved. Let's proceed further. Now see, in the third quarter, how much quantity we purchased? So in the third quarter, the quantity purchased is 63,000 kgs at the rate 4. Sixty-three thousand kgs we purchased at the rate 4, and the total amount is 2,52,000. Now, when talking about the consumption part, see again the consumption in quarter third is how much? Let me check. So the raw material requirement in quarter third is 84,000. So 84,000 we can sufficiently absorb it from the opening stock only. So 84,000 we need. So we can utilize it from the opening stock only, that is at the rate 3. So 84,000 into 3. 2,52,000. So now when talking about the calculation of closing stock, of this 1,22,500, 84,000 is utilized. 122,500, 84,000 is utilized. So we are left out with only 38,500 from the opening stock, and this material is still not used. So 63,000 into 4. Anyone having any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. So now let's start with the fourth quarter, wherein we have two opening stock, 38,500 and 63,000, and the rate is 3 and 4. and the total value is 367,500. Now in fourth quarter we didn't purchase anything. हमने कुछ भी purchase नहीं किया. So nil. When talking about the consumption part, see in the fourth quarter, we are consuming 96,500 kgs of raw material. So 96,500 is the total requirement. So 96,500 is my total requirement. So 96,500 is my total requirement. So 38,500 will be fulfilled from the opening stock. So 38,500 will be fulfilled from the opening stock. And balance requirement 58,000 will be from the again opening stock, but at the rate 4. So it means 38,500 is fully utilized, then out of 63,000, 58,000 is utilized. So balance, we are left out with 5,000 kgs, and that is our closing stock. We have already, it is already given in the study material question. I mean, it is already given in the question only. So this 5,000, the value of this 5,000 will be what? From this part, that is rupees 4. So the value of closing stock will be 20,000 rupees. So I'm done with this explanation. It's a bit lengthy question. If you guys have any doubts or queries in this part, you guys can please post your queries. Very good, Nitin. Mallu Jadar. Okay. So 38,500 and 63,000. Why, sir, in quarter third? See, in quarter third, closing stock. See, my opening stock is 1,22,500. The quantity of raw material purchased is 63,000. Now my consumption for quarter third is how much? 84,000. So since we are using FIFO method, so this 84,500 will be consumed from the opening stock. This 84,000 will be consumed from the opening stock, that is 122,500 at the rate 3. So out of 122,500, 84,000 is consumed. So still Out of 122,500, 84,000 is consumed. So still we are left out with 38,500 kgs at the rate 3. And this 63,000, nothing is utilized. So 63,000 into 4. Anyone else? Karan Kumar, can you please elaborate what you want to ask? Yes, Karan. Column 4 means what you're talking about, fourth quarter. Yes, Karan. So see, when talking about this part, see 38,500 and 63 for 63,000. This is what my opening stock. Now this is my opening stock. Now nothing is purchased in quarter 4. 1 second. So see, Karan, nothing is purchased in quarter 4. Now in quarter 4, my requirement is how much? My requirement is 58. My requirement is 96,500. So when talking about this 96,500, since we are using FIFO method, see again, what is FIFO? This part and all, everything is discussed in material costing. So I'm just referring the material. I'm assuming that you guys are thorough with the concept of material costing and how to prepare this table. So anyways, first in, first out. So 96,500 is my requirement. So 38,500 will be first utilized, and subsequently whatever the balance requirement is, it will be fulfilled from 63,000. So 96 out of this 96,500, 38,500 will be at the rate 3, and balance 58,000 will be at the rate 4. So once 38,500 is utilized, this part is gone now. So only 63,000 is left at the rate 4. So 63,000 minus 58,000 that is used. So balance we are left out with 5,000 kgs, that will be of rupees 4 only. Any other doubts or queries? Gurminder, okay, sir, I'm asking 3367. This is not 360. Okay, 367 500 is the total. That is 38 500 into 3 and 63,000 into 4. 38 500 into 3 plus 63,000 into 4. 38 500 into 3 and 63,000 into 4. This is how I got 36500. Gurminder, admin sir, can you please unmute Gurminder Kaur? Yeah, Gurminder, tell me what exactly you're finding difficult now.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, dear. Are you thorough with FIFO, LIFO, weighted average method that is
Y-
discussed in material costing?
Yes, sir. Yes. So actually, I'm confused with quantity of second quarter, 41,500. How
Which
to
one?
calculate that? Second one.
This one.
No, upside opening stock
This is the
41,500.
closing stock. So the closing stock of first quarter will be the opening stock of second quarter.
Okay, okay. And sir, rate for 3 and 4. How to calculate that?
It is 3 and 4. This 3 and 4. This is given in the question, na?
The
Which
rate
3 and
is
4?
given, yeah, that one only. Rate is given almost 2 kg na, of raw material finished output required.
No. Purchase. This is the purchase price. See, 2, 3, and 4. We are
Okay, sir.
purchasing raw
Okay.
material at different rate in different quarters. So in the first quarter, we purchased at the rate 2. In the second quarter, we purchased at the rate 3. And in the third quarter, we purchased at the rate 4.
Okay, sir. Okay, clear. Thank you and sorry.
No worries, no worries. That's okay.
Thank you, sir.
12 marks, Nayan. I hope this part is clear. Again, this budgetary control chapter is very simple chapter. The point is you have to follow the steps and you have to solve the question with patience. Again, when talking about the new concept, there are nothing new. I mean, it's nothing new. It's what we have discussed till now. I mean, अब तक जो भी हमने costing में discuss किया है, उसकी help से we have to prepare budget. Anyone else? So we are done with this question. Admin sir. So guys, let's take a break of 15 minutes. I'll be back after 15 minutes with few more questions. Admin sir, can you please start the break? Sir, तबीयत थोड़ी down. Welcome back, my friends. So we are done with this question now. Let's discuss one more question, a bit easy question. Let's start with practical question number 7. I'm discussing practical question number 7 from the study material. So please open practical question number 7, page number 15.79. So Jigyasa Limited is drawing a production plan for its two products, Minimax and Heavy High, for the year 22-23. The company policy is to hold the closing stock of finished goods at 25% of the anticipated volume of sales of the succeeding month. So whatever the sales of succeeding month is, 25% will be the closing stock of our current month. Wherein the following data is also given, that is the production budget. Budgeted production units is given, the direct material cost per unit is given, labor cost per unit is given, manufacturing overheads are also given. The estimated units to be sold in the first 4 months of the year are given. April, May, June, and July, the units sold are given. Prepare production budget for the first quarter month-wise. So we have to prepare a production budget again month-wise for the first quarter. So when talking about first quarter, it is April, May, and June only. So let's start with this question now. So we'll first prepare for Minimax. For April, May, and June. So the same way, sales add closing stock less opening stock. Sales add closing stock less opening stock. When talking about the sales are given for the month of April, May, June, that is 8,000, 10,000, and 12,000. So 8,000, 10,000, and 12,000. Now, what is given? The data that is given related to closing stock, see, it is given in the question. I repeat again, that is given in the question that the company policy is to hold closing stock of finished goods at 25% of the anticipated volume of the sales of the succeeding month. So it means, what will be the closing stock of April? 25% of May. What will be the closing stock of May? 25% of the June. So herein, the closing stock will be 10,000. For April, it will be 10,000 into 25%, that is 2,500 for April. For May, it will be 12,000 into 25%. So this will be 3,000. And for June, see the data for the July we have. We have the data for the July month. See, the sale of the July is 16,000. 16,000 to 16,000 into 25%. That is 4,000. If you guys have any doubts in this till now, you guys can please post your query. Now, very important when talking about opening stock. Opening stock will be what for April? 25%. See, opening stock of April will be what? The closing stock of March. Opening stock of April will be what? The closing stock of March. And what will be the closing stock of March? 25% of April. So 8,000 into 25%, that is 2,000 will be the closing stock of March, and this will be the opening stock of April. Again, this is the closing stock of April. So this will be the opening stock of May. This is the closing stock of May. So this will be the opening stock of June. If you guys have any doubts or queries till now, you guys can please post your queries. So this will be 8,500. This will be 10,500. This will be 13,000. So total production will be 32,000 units. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your queries. Okay, so 1 second. Mahi 2000, how calculated? Sir, how did you get the closing stock value? How to calculate? Sarthak, how to calculate the opening stock of April? So see, Sarthak, very simple. Opening stock, I'm writing also for your reference, opening stock of April will be what? Will be the closing stock of March. And what will be the closing stock of March? What will be the closing stock of March? Succeeding month sale ka 25%. So succeeding month means what? April. So the sale of April is 88,000 into 25%. That is 2,000. So this will be the closing stock of March, and this will be the opening stock of April. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post. It's just a language twist, nothing more than that. So Mahi, Apurva, Sarthak, and Ritika. Any doubts now? Ritika's, Mahi, and Apurva. Any doubts? Or still not clear? Yes, Apurva, Ritika. Closing stock 2,500. You're talking about this closing stock? See again, the closing stock of April will be what? the closing stock of April will be what? 25% of the sales of May. 25% of the sales for the May. This I have already explained here. Again, the closing stock of May will be what? 25% of June. So 12,000 into 25%. I hope Apurva and Ritika, your query is resolved. Mahi, Apurva and Ritika. जो भी subsequent month का sales होगा उसका 25% we do maintain and manage the closing stock. No. No, Wave, how come you got this 24%? I'm surprised. It's 25%. 25% of the sales of the subsequent month. Again, 4,000. See, for the June, how come we will get the closing stock of June? 25% of the July sales. And see the sales of July, it is given in the question. Again, see in the question, the sales of the July we have is 16,000. I hope it is clear. Karan Kumar. So similarly, we'll prepare for the second product also. So the second product is heavy high. So again, sales, add closing stock, less opening stock, and we have the sales figure 6,000, 8,000, and 9,000. So 6,000, 8,000, and 9,000. So what will be the closing stock of April? 25% of May. So this will be 2,000. What will be the closing stock of May? 25% of June. So this will be 2,250. And what will be the closing stock of June? 25% of July. And for July, it is July, it is 14,000. Now, the closing stock of April will be the opening stock of May. So this will be 2,000. This will be 2,250. Now, very important, I repeat again, what will be the opening stock of April, the closing stock of March? And what will be the closing stock of March? 25% of the sales of April. And the sales of April is how much? 6,000. So this will be 1,500. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. You can copy this explanation, and those who want to copy the presentation, you guys can please. The solution is there in the study material, but again, what you will write, you will remember. That's what it is. So anyone having any doubts or inquiries? Gurminder, Ankit Mishra, Akruma Ansari. The closing stock will be what? 25% of the succeeding month sales. So this 2000, how come 8000 into 25%, 9000 into 25%, and 14,000 into 25%? This is how I got this closing stock. I request you guys to please copy at least one table. Again, what you will write, you will remember it forever. So giving you 2 minutes time. So herein, prepare production budget for the first quarter in month wise. So herein, see, we have prepared the production budget, but see, it's up to us to prepare production cost budget or not. See, in the solution, I think they have prepared production cost budget also. Since the question is asking us only to prepare production budget, the solution ends here. But yes, in study material, they have prepared production cost budget also. So just we are preparing it for our reference. So no rocket science as such. Straight away, we have to calculate the total cost of so we have got the number of units. That is 32,000 and 25,000. So let's calculate the production cost. When talking about material cost, it is given straight away, that is, it is rupees 220 per unit. So 220 into 32,000 for Minimax, and for this it is 280 per unit. So this will be 70 lakh 40,000. And this will be 70 lakh. Next is labor cost, that is 130 and 120. And last is manufacturing overhead. See, this is for the entire budgeted production. That is 1,80,000 and 1,20,000. So we will calculate the proportionate manufacturing overheads. So see, 4 lakh is for 1,80,000 units. So for 32,000 units, the proportionate overhead we will get. $71,111. Similarly, 5 lakh for 1,20,000 units. So for 25,000 units, how much? So this is the way you guys have to prepare production cost budget. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. So any doubts, Gurminder, Ritika, Mahi, Sabah, Shakil, Nitin? Yes, it's lengthy, but it is easy. Don't worry, Tambeshwari. Yes, Ritika, it's a very easy chapter. It's just the mix of all the concepts what we have discussed in grade 11, 12, FY, SY, TY, whatever it is. There is no, actually, there are no new concept. The point is you have to read the question with patience. The questions are lengthy, the solutions are lengthy, but again, the chapter is very easy. Try to solve all the variety of questions. There are many questions. We can say there is one question wherein they have mixed standard costing and budgetary control also. So for solving that question, you have to be thorough with standard costing also. So the point is, you have to start solving the questions of this chapter once you are thorough with all the other chapters. Examiner can twist the questions like anything. I need some time, Tambeshwari, and even the image what you have sent now, it's like blur. So can you please increase the brightness of the image and can send me the solution, please? So fine, let's proceed further. If the time permits, then for sure I'll discuss this illustration 5 also orally, not practically, because again, if I discuss this illustration number 5, the entire, it's like it's going to take 1.5 hours. Anyways, so let's get back to one more illustration that is related to master budget. That is illustration number 6. So let's start with illustration number 6. Again, a very easy and a straightforward question. Simply, you have to calculate the total cost and the net profit. That's it. So let's start with the master budget illustration number 6. And thereafter, if the time permits, I'll try to discuss few points of illustration number 5. So float glass manufacturing company requires you to prepare the master budget for the next year from the following information, wherein the sales is given of toughened glass and bent glass, the material cost is given, the wages cost is given. Okay, so see, we have to prepare it for the year, because see here in the first line itself says that prepare the master budget for the next year. So some information is given for the month. So see, direct wages 20 workers at the rate 150 per month. So we have to convert it into yearly. Now when talking about factory overhead, the indirect labor is given, that is work manager salary and foreman salary, that is 500 and 400 per month. Further, stores and spare cost is also given. That is 2.5% of the sales. Depreciation on machinery 12,600. Light and power 3,000. Repairs and maintenance 8,000. Sorry. 1 second, guys. Light and power is given, repairs and maintenance are given, other sundries are given, that is 10% of the direct wages. Administration, selling and distribution expenses are given, that is 36,000 per year. We are required to prepare the master budget. So let's solve this question quickly. This is just to boost confidence that, okay, such type of questions also examiner do ask sometimes. So it's a very easy question. This is illustration number 6, page number 15.57. So sales we have is 6 lakh and 2 lakh. That is total 8 lakh. Toughened glass and bent glass. Six lakh and 2 lakh. Now let's calculate the cost of production. When talking about direct material, it is given 60% of sales. So 60% of, so this will be 4,80,000. Direct wages we have, it is 20 workers, 150 per month. Into 12 months. So this will be 36,000. Are there any direct expenses? No, there are no direct expenses, I think. So we'll get the prime cost. Direct material plus direct labor, we call this term as prime cost. So this will be 480 plus 36, 5,16,000. In this, we will add all the factory overhead. So indirect labor, work manager and foreman salary we have. So foreman salary, work manager salary is 500 per month. So 500 into 12, that is 6,000 and 400 per month. So this will be 4,800. Thereafter, stores and spares is 2.5% of sales. Or sales is 8 lakh. So 8 lakh into 2.5%. It comes to 20,000. Depreciation on machinery 12,600. Light and power 3,000. Repairs and maintenance 8,000. Other sundries are 10% of the direct wages. So 36,000 into 10%, that is 3,600. So I think everything is done in factory overheads. So my total factory overheads will be 58,000. So we'll get the factory cost or work cost. So this will be 5,74,000. In this, if we add all the administration, selling, and distribution cost, administration, selling, and distribution cost, 36,000, we will get the cost of sales. Better we'll write cost of sales here. 6,10,000. So my profit will be sales minus cost of sales, that is 8 lakh minus 6,10,000. 1,90,000. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Again, you can modify the format at the end of the day when talking about master budget, sales and cost data. You have to calculate the net profit in a systematic way, present it in a systematic way. That's what it is, nothing more than that. This is cost of sales. This is toughened glass and bent glass. I think, Ritika, all the chapters are over, my dear. Yes, Sanya. What profile you are talking about, Sabah Sakil? This is prime cost 5,16,000. Profit is 1,90,000. We'll surely try to, Ritika. Don't worry. I think if possible, we'll try to schedule one session for activity-based costing because I was not being able to take that session on activity-based costing. I'll try to. So let me check. Yes, Ritika, don't worry. Okay, so let's discuss illustration number 5. I'll try to discuss this illustration orally because it's going to take at least an hour to complete the solution. And I'll write down the extracts also for illustration number 5. So without wasting time, let's start with illustration number 5. So let's start with illustration number 5. As 2 to 3 students mentioned that they are facing difficulty in illustration number 5. It's a lengthy illustration. So let's start. A company is engaged in manufacture of specialized sub-assemblies required for certain electronic equipment. So they are manufacturing sub-assemblies. The company envisages that in the forthcoming month, December, the sales will be in the ratio of 3:4:2, respectively for sub-assembly ACB, MCB, and DP. So there are three sub-assemblies, three types of final product. In short, let's say A, M, and D. They are manufacturing, and the sales ratio is 3:4:2. The following is the schedule of the component required for manufacture. So see, the selling price is given 520, 500, and 350 for all the three products. That is product A, M, and D. Now, each product requires 4 types of raw material. The raw material 1 is the baseboard. Raw material 2 is IC08. Raw material 3, it is IC12. And raw material 4, it is IC26. So these are the 4 raw materials that are required to manufacture 1 unit of ACB and 1 unit of MCB and 1 unit of DP. So when talking about the raw material, see, generally raw material is given in kgs. Here it is in given in units. So see, for ACB to manufacture 1 unit of final product ACB, 1 baseboard is required, 8 IC08 is required, 4 IC12 is required, and 2 IC26 is required. And the price per unit is also given. That is the price of the baseboard IC08, IC12, and IC26. The purchase price is also given in the question. Now further they are given that the direct labor time and variable overhead required for each of the assemblies are also given. So see, 4 types of raw material are required and 2 types of labor are also required. See, grade A labor, grade B labor. And further, the time devoted by them in hours is also given. That is, ACB require 8 hours of grade A worker and 16 hours of grade B worker. And the rate is given, that is 5 and 4. So the material cost is given, the labor cost we can easily calculate per unit. Again, the material cost per unit we can calculate, the labor cost per unit we can easily calculate. And further, the variable overheads are straight away given for ACB, MCB, and DP. Now, it is given that the labor work for 8 hours a day and 25 days in a month. Okay. So total labor hours are how much? 25 into 8, that is 200 hours per worker in a month. See, total hours are how much? 200 hours per month for a worker. Further, the opening stock and closing stock are also given for the final products and for the raw material also. See, okay, closing stock is not given, opening stock is given for the final product and for the raw material. See, there are 3 types of product: ACB, MCB, and DP. So the opening stock is given 800, 1200, 2800. And further, there are 4 types of raw material also: base component, IC, 08, 12, and 26, and their opening stock is also given. So the opening stock data is given. Now, fixed overhead amount to rupees 7,57,200. So the variable cost, that is material cost, is given, labor cost is given, variable overheads are given. Now, when talking about fixed cost is given and the profit is also given. Now, the point is we have the data for the opening stock, but the question is still now silent about the closing stock. But see the last paragraph, the company is eager for a reduction of closing inventory for the month of December. So the closing stock is less than opening stock. How much? So the company is eager for a reduction of closing inventory for the month of December of sub-assemblies and the component by 10% of the quantity as compared to the opening stock. So in short, very simple, the closing stock is 10% less than opening stock. Prepare the following budget for the month of December, that is sales budget in quantity and value. Now the first point, the key point is sales budget we have to prepare in quantity and value. Now the point is herein, no information is given as regards the total number of units. No information is given in this question as regards the total number of units. But very important, we have our target profit that this much we want to earn. We have our fixed cost. So we have profit, we have fixed cost, we can calculate contribution, total contribution. And contribution per unit also we can calculate with the help of selling price and variable cost. See, let's solve this question quickly. At least if I can solve half of the question also, it's fine, because thereafter I want to discuss for 5-7 minutes on ratios also. So let's start with the calculation. So before preparing the sales in quantity and value, we need to first calculate the sales quantity. So let's start with the calculation of sales quantity first. So this point is the key, that is the calculation of sales quantity. So for this, we need to first calculate the contribution per unit. The target profit is we have, the target fixed cost is what we have. So we can easily calculate the total contribution, but we need to calculate the contribution per unit to equate and calculate the sales quantity. So let's start with the calculation. Selling price, we have for all the three products. See, the selling price is given in the question: 520, 500 and 350. We'll subtract the variable cost. When talking about material, see, it is given that 4 types of material are required. Baseboard, see, one baseboard is required for all the three products. So this will be 60, 60 and 60. Second, IC08. It is, the price is 20 and 8 IC08 are required for ACB. So 8 into 20, that is 160. 2 into 20, that is 40. And similarly for CDP also it is 2 into 20. Further, IC12, again 4, 10 and 4, and the price is 12. So 4 into 12, 48. 10 into 12, 120 and 48. One more raw material is required, that is IC26. And the price is 8. So 8 to the 16. So we have got all the raw materials: 16, 48 and 64. Now next is labor. Grade A and grade B. When talking about the number of hours, okay, rate is given 5 and 4 and the number of hours are also given. So 8 and 16. 8 5s are 40 and 16 4s are 64. Similarly, 6 and 12. So 40, 20 and 64, 48 and 32. Now we have the variable overheads also. And the variable overheads are given, that is 36, 24 and 24. So we have the selling price, we have all the variable cost. So let's calculate the total variable cost. That is 60 plus 160 plus 48 plus 16 plus 40 plus 64 plus 36, that is 424. So we'll get the contribution minus 520, that is 96 will be the contribution per unit. So if you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your queries. We are done with the calculation of contribution per unit. Now see, the sales mix is given in the question. See, this is the total variable cost. This is the total variable cost. Sales minus variable cost, we will get contribution per unit. This is the selling price. This is the total variable cost. Sales minus variable cost, we will get contribution per unit. Now, the sales mix is given in the question. That is 3:4:2. The sales mix is given in the question, that is 3:4:2. So we can calculate the contribution in sales ratio. So the contribution sales ratio will be how much? I have discussed this part. If sales mix is given, contribution is given, we can calculate the units. See, in the last session of marginal costing, I discussed one question on sales mix. So it's the concept is just like that only. So 96 into 3, this will be 288. This will be 520. This will be 124. Now see, we can easily calculate the contribution. See, my fixed cost we have, my profit we have. So we can easily calculate the contribution. This part, how to calculate contribution, I have already discussed. So my fixed overheads are 757, 200. My target profit is 12 lakh. So this will be 1957, 200. So we can easily calculate the number of units. That is, we will divide this by total, that is 288 plus 520 plus 124, that is 932. If we divide it by 288, 520 and 124, that is total is 932, we'll get the number of batches or whatever it is. That is 2100. So now if we multiply it by 342, we will get the sales quantity of ACB, MCB and DP. So 2100 into 3, this will be 6300. This will be 8400 and this will be 4200. This is what my sales quantity. And this was the trickier part because there are no other ways to calculate sales quantity. So since we have the contribution per unit, we have the sales mix, we have the total contribution, so we can easily calculate the sales quantity. This part, what's the logic and concept? I have already discussed this part in marginal costing. So the key part was to calculate the sales quantity. So once sales quantity is calculated, we can solve this question very easily. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. So see, the question is asking us to prepare the sales budget in quantity and value. So sales quantity we have, selling price is 520, 500 and 350. So we can calculate the sales value also. So this will be 6,300 into 520. This will be 32,76,000. 8,400 into 500. So this will be 42 lakh. And 4,200 into 350. This is 14,70,000. So we can say this is the sales budget in quantity and value. Again, this concept, that is contribution, sales, and this part I have already discussed in detail in marginal costing. So the trick was, the first thing what to calculate is sales quantity, and the trick was that you have to calculate the two. No other way is possible. But yes, the sales mix is given. We can calculate the contribution per unit. Further, the total contribution also we can calculate. So with the help of these figures, we can easily calculate the sales quantity. So that was the twist in this question. The sales mix ratio 3:4:2 is given in the question. And this concept is just mathematics. Still, I have discussed this concept in last session of marginal costing. Now see, the next part what the question is asking is production budget in quantity. That how much quantity is produced. So see, for ACB, MCB and DP, we have the sales quantity that is 6,300, 8,400 and 4,200. Now we will add closing stock, we will subtract opening stock, add closing stock, subtract opening stock. Now see, here in the question, the opening stock is given straight away. That is 800, 1,200 and 2,800. 800, 1,200 and 2,800. And they are saying that closing stock is 10% less than opening stock. So this will be how much? 800 minus 10%, 720. 1,200 minus 10%. This will be 1,080. And 2,800 minus 10%. So this will be 2520. So we can easily calculate the production also. That is 6300 plus 720 minus 800. So this will be 6220. Similarly, 8400 plus 1080 minus 1200. So this will be 6120. And the third one will be 4200 plus 2520 minus 2800. That is 3920. So the production budget is also done. See, the question is lengthy because you know these words assemblies, ACB, MCB, DP, IC0, these words are new to us. So don't get confused with the words. Just assume it as XYZ or ABC. You will be able to solve the question easily. See now, the production budget is over now. Component budget, component usage budget in quantity. So we have got the production. We have got the production. So we can easily calculate the number of component used. So see, when talking about baseboard, see, for every unit we require one baseboard. So 6220 into 1, 6120 into 1, and 3920 into 1. This is how we will get the total number of baseboard used. Now, baseboard used similarly for IC08, again it is given 1 unit require 8, for ACB 2, for MCB, and 2 for DP. So into 8 into 2 into 2. So this is how we will get the raw material that is used. Now, if you want to calculate the purchase of raw material, in raw material used, you have to add closing stock and subtract opening stock. See, the opening stock is given in the question, that is 1600, 1200, 6000, and 4000. So the closing stock will be 10% less than opening stock. So usage we have, opening stock we have, closing stock we have. We can easily calculate the quantity that is purchased for raw material. So the question is lengthy, I understand, but it's a very easy question. But the key part was to calculate this three figures, that is the sales quantity. Again, I have applied the same concept what I have discussed in case of sales mix in marginal costing. Further, when talking about one more point, let's see what the, so see, sales budget is done, production budget is done, component usage budget, as I told you, if we multiply these three production quantity with the quantity usage, then we will get the consumption. And with the help of consumption, if we add closing stock and subtract opening stock, we will get the purchase quantity. So herein, it is given in the question that you are required to prepare a budget, component purchase budget in quantity and value. So we can easily calculate like this. Now the last part is manpower budget, showing the number of workers and the amount of wage payable. See now, we are required to calculate the number of workers. So see, I'm erasing this part. Since we are in short of time, so I'm discussing it bit on the faster side. See, we have got the quantity of ACB, MCB, and DP. And there are two types of worker, grade A and grade B. We have the sales quantity ready with us, 6,300, 8,400, and 4,200. This is what my sales quantity. Right? Now see, the hours required are given in the question, that 1 unit requires how many hours? See, 8, 6, and 4 for grade A. Hours per unit. Hours per unit. 8, 6, and 4. Here in hours required per unit is how much? 16, 12, and 8. So we will get the total hour requirement, that is 6,300 into 8, that is 50,400 hours. 8,400 into 6, 50,400 hours. So we have got the total requirement of hours, that is 1,17,600. See, the total hours needed are 1,17,600. Sorry. It's not the quantity. We have to calculate. See, this is the sales quantity. We have to take the production quantity. My mistake. Production quantity is 6,220, 6,120, and 3,920. Sorry, guys. This was the quantity that is sold. We have to take the quantity that is manufactured this year. So 6,220 into 8, 49,760. 6,120 into 6, 36,720. And 3,920 into 4, 15,680. One zero two 160. Sorry, guys, again a calculation mistake. It is not. It is 8 to See, 115,120. Hopefully, this is correct now. See, these are the total number of grade A hours required. Yes. Thank you, Sarthak. So these are the total number of hours required, and a worker work for how many hours? See, it is given in the question that a worker work for how many hours in a month? A worker work for 8 hours in a day and 25 days in a month. It means a worker work for 200 hours in a month. So 115,120 divided by 200. So in short, we need 576 workers. So this is the summary of this question. In fact, I have discussed most of the part of the question. So first thing is you have to calculate the sales quantity. Once the sales quantity is calculated, you can easily calculate the production quantity. That is sales and closing stock less opening stock. Once the production quantity is calculated, we can easily calculate the raw material consumed and the raw material to be purchased with the help of opening and closing stock of raw material. And when talking about labor hour, we have the production data ready now. So if we multiply it with hour, we will get the total hours required. So this much is the total hour required. Into one worker need 200 hours. So in short, we need 576 worker of grade A, and similarly you can calculate for grade B. I hope now you guys will be able to solve this question. I have discussed most of the part of the question. So, Tambeshwari, I hope you will be able to solve this question now. Miss Goda Praju, I hope this is clear to you now. Miss Praju, Goda Praju. And Tambeshwari. So fine. Great. Now, I need to discuss the ratios also. So see, here and you can refer study material because again, we are in short of time. So efficiency ratio, it is standard hours divided by actual hours. Standard hour means what? We have discussed in standard costing. See, we calculated that revised standard and we used to calculate that standard hour. Standard hour means what? Standard hours for actual production. वो जो actual production हुआ उसमें कितने hours लगने चाहिए थे, that is what we call as standard hours. So if the standards are 100, that is, let's say standard hours are 100 and actual hours we did is only 80. So जो काम 100 hours में complete करना चाहिए था, we completed in 80 only. So we can say we have worked efficiently, and my efficiency is how much? 100 divided by 80 into 100. So 125. So we have worked efficiently. I repeat again, the work was supposed to be completed in 100 hours, but we completed it in 80 hours only. That is, it means we worked efficiently and our efficiency is 125%. This is what efficiency ratio. Similarly, activity ratio, standard hours for actual production divided by budgeted hours, we will get the activity ratio. Similarly, calendar ratio, available working days divided by budgeted working days into 100. Further, standard capacity utilization, that is budgeted hours divided by maximum possible hours. Similarly, actual capacity utilization, again, actual hours divided by maximum possible hours. So again, these are the concepts what we have discussed somehow somewhere in standard costing and other chapters. I wish I could discuss the concept behind these formulas, but okay, since after discussing standard costing, you guys can frame these formulas. So try to make the concepts of these formulas on your own, or else you can memorize the formula as of now, and straight away the question will be asked with the straight figures given. So there is one illustration also wherein every data is given straightforward. So you have to simply apply the formula and solve the question. But yes, as I said, there are no formulas in costing. Again, it's not the formula, it's just the logic that how you will calculate efficiency, activity, capacity, productivity, whatever it is. So anyways, guys, again, this ratios and all are very important. Examiner do ask question on these ratios also. So the point is, see, this chapter is the summary of all what we discussed in the previous chapter, especially standard costing, marginal costing, material costing, labor costing also. See, this calculation of workforce we have learned in labor. The calculation of production and all we have discussed in material. The ratios somehow somewhere we have discussed in standard costing. The contribution and all these calculation we have learned in marginal costing. So at the end of the day, see, the master budget, the cost calculation, work cost, cost of production, cost of sales, we have learned in cost sheet. So just prepare all the other chapters, and at last you can start preparing with budgetary control. You guys will be able to solve the questions on budgetary control. So I wish I could take one more session on budgetary control, because in rush, I mean, in the last part I've discussed a bit fast. That is illustration number 5. I want to discuss one or two more illustration, but anyways, the concept part and all, I mean, this much discussion is more than sufficient. For theory, you can refer MTPs, RTPs, and past paper. That is more than sufficient for budgetary control. I think one session is pending for activity-based costing. If required, then I'll take one session on activity-based costing to discuss 2 to 3 practical sums. So let's see if the lecture is scheduled, then you guys will be updated. And we'll try to keep one revisionary batches for all your doubts on MTPs or RTPs. Further, still, if you guys want to ask me anything, you can write a mail to ICAI CMA-inter@icai.in. So whatever your queries are, I am there for you till the last date of your exams. So whatever your queries are, you just write a mail to ICAI. I'll be addressing all your queries. So I'll be taking, I need to check with this part, Nitin. So you can write a mail to ICAI and the query will, I'll address all your queries at that point of time. And I'll surely try to keep one more session to guide you how to prepare for exams, how to approach your studies, how to, handle the tricky situations or tricky questions. So we'll surely try to schedule one class. So till then, cost of goods sold, whether he, not even cost of goods sold, it is cost of sales, whether he, cost of sales. So anyways, we'll surely try to keep one more session to guide you how to prepare for exams and to address all your queries. You guys will be updated. So till then, I suggest you guys to revise, practice all the practical questions, specifically the questions what I have discussed in class. And again, do focus on concepts rather than memorizing the formula. Plus, try to solve as maximum as possible question in writing rather than doing ticking. So stick to the concepts and try to solve questions in writing. No one can stop you from clearing this costing paper. For other papers, I don't want to say. But yes, for costing paper, the concept and the practice is the key. So again, practice in writing. Don't do ticking and all. So that is the key. Thank you so much for your time and patience. I'm surely going to meet you again at least for one more session wherein I'll give you some guidance and all. So thank you so much for your time and patience and for active participation in the session. I want you guys to be present in the coming session, every one of you. Again, do practice, do work hard, thoda patience rakhiye. Definitely you'll be able to solve the sums and understand the concepts, and you'll surely be able to crack the paper. So till then, take care of yourself. God bless you. See you guys very soon. Yes, yes, yes.